Welcome to the owner's class video for the Singer Heavy Duty Model 4411 sewing machine. In this video, we are going to go over what you need to know to get started, such as winding a bobbin, threading the needle, selecting a stitch, changing the needle, and more. Let's start by taking a tour of the machine. The first thing we're going to do is plug in the machine and turn it on. And you'll know the machine is on when the light comes on. We have the hand wheel, the bobbin winding stopper, the bobbin winding spindle, the handle, the spool pin where we'll put our thread, the stitch width dial to adjust the width of our stitches, the needle position dial, the tension dial to fine-tune the look of our stitches, the bobbin winding tension discs, a metal threading guide, another metal guide, and here's the take-up lever. This will be really important when we thread the top of the machine. On the front we have the reverse lever to sew in reverse, the stitch length dial to adjust the length of our stitch, the stitch selector dial, and by the needle we have the all-purpose foot and the presser foot lifter to raise and lower our presser foot. Here we have the bobbin holder with a bobbin already inside, and we can take off the removable storage compartment to expose our free arm. And that's really great for sewing small circular projects like pants hems and cuffs. Behind the free arm is the drop feed lever. You can move that lever to drop your feed teeth, and that is especially useful for sewing on buttons and free motion quilting. We can open our removable storage compartment to reveal our included accessories. These include some bobbins, needles, a spool cap, and some additional presser feet. Let's take a closer look at those presser feet. In addition to the all-purpose foot that comes on your machine, you get a buttonhole foot used for sewing buttonholes, a button sewing foot used for sewing on buttons, and a zipper foot used for inserting zippers, and it can also be used for inserting piping.
Before threading the machine to start sewing, let's take a look at some of its main parts. Over here at the side of the machine is where you plug it in and press the switch to turn it on. This is your hand wheel, and this is used to manually move the needle up and down. You want to make sure that you always turn this hand wheel toward you. Back here are two different spool pins. This is where you place your spool of thread. This is a thread guide, your bobbin winding spindle, and your bobbin winding stopper. And we'll talk about those when we get ready to wind a bobbin. This is your reverse lever, and you press this to sew stitches in reverse. This is your stitch selector dial, and you use this to choose the stitch you want to sew. This is a carry handle, your bobbin winding tension disc, another thread guide. This is the thread take-up lever, thread tension dial, and over here at the side is the thread cutter. Here you have a thread guide and a needle. This is the presser foot and presser foot holder. This is the needle clamp and needle clamp screw. This is your presser foot lifter, and this is used to raise and lower the presser foot. You can actually push it up one more level higher when you want to sew thicker fabrics. This is the removable storage compartment here at the front of the machine, and you can simply slide it off to expose the free arm, which makes it easy to sew things like trouser hems and sleeve cuffs. This hinged door opens to give you access to your bobbin, and we'll talk about that when we get ready to wind a bobbin. The removable storage compartment has a door at the back that when you open it gives you access to an area where you can store all the accessories that came with your machine.
Welcome to the Owner's Class video for the Singer Stylist Model 7258 sewing machine. In this video, we're going to go over what you need to know to get started, such as winding the bobbin, threading the needle, selecting a stitch, changing the needle, and more. Let's start by taking a tour of the machine. The first thing we're going to do is plug in our power cord and plug in the foot control and turn the machine on. And you'll know the machine is on when the screen and light come on. Here's the hand wheel that you will always turn towards you, the bobbin winding stopper, the bobbin winding spindle, the carry handle, the spool pin where we'll put our spool of thread, the bobbin winding tension disc, a metal threading guide, another metal guide, our tension dial, which allows us to fine-tune the look of our stitches, and the take-up lever. This is very important when we thread our machine, so we'll go over more about this later. The reverse lever, which allows you to sew in reverse, and also acts as a tie-off for decorative stitches. The speed control, which allows you to set the maximum speed of your machine. To the right is faster, to the left is slower. The programmable needle up-down button, which allows you to choose whether or not to have the needle stop in the up or down position when you stop sewing. The start-stop button, which allows you to sew without the foot control on the machine. Down here we have the built-in needle threader, your needle, the all-purpose foot, the presser foot lifter, which allows you to raise and lower your presser foot, and a bobbin comes already in the machine. On our panel, we have our stitch selector buttons, and to the right we have this circle of buttons. The up and down arrow allow you to increase or decrease your stitch length, and the right and left allow you to increase or decrease your stitch width. On the front of the machine, we have the removable storage compartment, which when removed exposes the free arm, which is very useful when sewing cuffs and pant hems. If we open up the storage compartment, we have additional accessories inside, such as additional bobbins and presser feet. Let's take a look at some of those presser feet. In addition to the all-purpose foot that already comes on your machine, you get a satin stitch foot, used for sewing satin stitches and decorative stitches, a zipper foot, used for inserting zippers, and it can also be used for inserting piping, a gathering foot, which can be used to gather a layer of fabric and can also be used to gather a layer of fabric while sewing it to a flat piece of fabric, a blind hem foot, used to sew blind hems, an overcasting foot, which can create seams and seam finishing using your overcasting stitches, a straight stitch foot, which is particularly useful when sewing shears and lightweight fabrics, a rolled hem foot, which is used for creating a rolled hem, a darning and embroidery foot, which is used for freehand sewing and freehand embroidery, and a buttonhole foot, used for sewing buttonholes.
This little mechanical machine is perfect for simple mending of lightweight to medium weight fabrics, and it's got so many awesome features. It has a top drop-in bobbin that's easy to insert and keep an eye on your bobbin thread supply. The free arm makes it super easy to sew hems and cuffs, especially if you're working on little garments. And it has 32 stitch applications to cover all of your basic sewing needs. There's a straight stitch, which has multiple options for length and width, as well as needle positions built right in. It also has a basting stitch function, which I love. There's a blind hem stitch, multiple options for a zigzag stitch, and a multi-step zigzag, which is great for mending, especially kid clothes. My tip is to open up the side inseam a little bit. It really allows you access for those knee holes.
Before we get started sewing, let's take a quick look at some of the main parts of your machine. We're going to first plug it in over here on the side, and then press this switch to turn the machine on. Up at the top, you have two different spool pins. You can use either one. This is where you put your thread spool. This is a thread guide. This is the bobbin winding spindle and the bobbin winding stopper, and we'll talk more about those when we get ready to wind the bobbin. Over here is your hand wheel, and you always turn this toward you. The hand wheel is used to manually move the needle up and down. This is your reverse lever, the stitch selector dial, used to pick the stitch you want to sew, the thread tension dial, your carry handle, the bobbin winding tension disc, another thread guide, the thread take-up lever, here's a thread cutter, and in here you'll find your presser foot lifter, used to raise and lower the presser foot. It actually has another setting, extra high, if you want to sew thicker layers. This is your presser foot and presser foot holder. Here is your removable storage compartment, and you simply slide it to the left to take it off the end of the machine if you want to sew hems and cuffs. The removable storage compartment has a door in the back that you can open and then store the accessories that came with your machine.